Dibling to Man United for 100 million quid. Are you real? Are you kidding me? Listen, guys, there are some reports that come from a credible source, but you think about it and say, this is laughable. This is so laughable. Anyhow, subscribe to the Netero Sport. My name is Webb. Like and share and drop a comment and let me know whether you think Tyler Dibling should be the poster boy of the INEOS Ruben Amorim project going forward. Now, here is the report. So, Fabrizio Romano, you probably know by now that he dropped a post and mentioned that Manchester United are considering Tyler Dibling as their main signing in the summer. And apparently, Southampton priced him at about 100 million quid. Now, this is from Fabrizio Romano. Guys, I don't need to explain if something comes from Fabrizio, what that means and how you should deal with it. I can't tell you how to deal with it, but listen to it and think about it. Now, first of all, Southampton are losing it. I think they're getting ahead of themselves. I told you a few days ago of how clubs like Bayern Munich, clubs like Tottenham, clubs like Manchester City and Man United were all interested in this 19-year-old kid, English international, and certainly we know that clubs in England need a certain number of locally based players, but also he's a good, decent prospect of a talent. But 100 million is insane. It's unacceptable. It's crazy. It's even Chelsea, in all their might, when it comes to robbing clubs and ripping clubs off, would not think about pricing Tyler Dibling at 100 million quid. Tyler Dibling is not even a 40 million pounds player. He's not even there yet. I think a club like Man City can pay 40 million. A club in Saudi can pay 40. No club, Man United, Tottenham, should be able to pay anything more than 30 million quid for Tyler Dibling. Now, and I'm not saying he's not talented. I've told you here before how I think he has got things about him, about his game that are good. But honestly, and I know Jason Wilcox knows this boy probably, having worked at Southampton before, and Wilcox, of course, has a lot of say now when it comes to transfers. And I also know that Ruben Amorim loves left-footed players. I've said this several times before, that Amorim loves left-footed players. That's why he wanted Giovanni Quenda, and the fact that he did not get Quenda, probably they are looking for another option who will come in and support Ahmad and Patrick Dogu as the left-footed players going forward. But if that player is Tyler Dibling, and he could be the player, this good talent that certainly United can work with, he cannot be coming in for 100 million, not 90, not 80, not 70, not 60, not 50, not 40, tops 30 or 35. And I see him not as the main signing for Manchester United. Even if United were to go ahead and sign him, he should come as one of the later additions to the team. Because I've said it, guys, before. What problem would Tyler Dibling be solving for Man United? It's one thing for INEOS and Jason Wilcox and co. to want to have kids who will be the poster boy of their project, but they also have to reason. They have to do things, cognizance of the fact that this is a club in transition that needs to get it right. Now, you don't get it right by signing a 100 million pounds 19-year-old English kid who is not all that. He has got the basics of a player who can be good, but he has got a long way to go as a player. And you're paying 100 million for him, yet you're saying you're trying to correct wrongs done by the club before. I feel like, for me, and with all due respect to Fabrizio, I feel like this is one of those reports he has dropped to push an agenda, either from the club or from the representatives of Dibling, because I've been a journalist for more than 15 years. I know that certain times, if you're the guy, like Fabrizio is the guy when it comes to these periods towards the summer, there are player agents who will pay him for him to talk about their players and perhaps twist people's minds to focus on the player. Because Southampton is going to be relegated, that they know. They know Dibling has got to be priced out of Southampton. They want to look at to see an opportunity and maximize it by getting the biggest amount of money they can get for him. Because if you say 100 million, and then maybe Man United can settle for 50, which would still be so high, but it's a good way of setting your of going into the negotiations. I think for me, agents use Fabrizio Romano to start getting the bargaining power towards the period of negotiations, because they know certainly clubs are going to come trying to sign Tyler Dibling, or even knowing that there is the Saudi market out there. If Fabrizio talks about Tyler Dibling linked with United or Arsenal or Madrid, a big club, they know that even if that club doesn't really go ahead to bid for the player, other clubs will certainly look at them. But even clubs in Saudi will go like, okay, what is it with this player? If Fabrizio is saying United want him, what is it about him? So, of course, expect a follow-up. It doesn't just end like that. I'll expect Fabrizio to follow up with something. Tyler Dibling, for me, can only join Manchester United for the right fee. And I'm not saying he's a bad player, by the way. Don't get it twisted. I've been consistent. I've said he's a prospect. He's got... in fact, in terms of his talent levels, he would be a good addition to Man United now that they're in a transition. With Amorim, a coach will have left-footed players, young ones like him, and the fact that United did not get Kwenda. But for me, the issue is the fee. Tyler Dibling cannot be signed for anything more than 40 million. Even 40 feels so high. If Dogo was got for 20 million, I don't care whether Dibling has been playing in the Premier League or so. He has been playing for he's being relegated with Southampton. He should be worth 20, 25, 30 tops because he's English. Come on. Let's be real. So I'm waiting to see. And you see, thinking of a £100 million player for Man United is even insane, because it would mean that Man United has got to sell lots of players. They'll probably have to sell players like Garnacho, players like Kobe Mainu. They'll probably have to sell certain players if they are going to get Dibling in for 100 million or even 60. So are we going to sell these players? They could probably have to sell Ahmad as well to be able to to fund that deal. It's insane. You think about it, and in all ways, it just doesn't make sense. It's illogical to think about. So I strongly think this is not happening. I think whereas, yes, the interest is there, it's not happening. What is not happening is Man United paying 100 million or 80 or 90 for this kid. They might sign him eventually, but only for the right fee. If it's not the right fee, come on, Dibling, proceed, go to Saudi. Southampton, find someone else. We've learned the hard way from purchasing wrong players for a lot of money. We cannot do the same. I think we've learned a lot, really. I want to believe that INEOS have learned. And I think the biggest pain of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I've said this consistently, is having to sign on a check of £89 million in this coming summer for players like Anthony, Sancho, players like, probably they're still paying for Casemiro, players like, they're still paying for Delete. Of course, now some of them are still important players for the club. For players like Hoyland, they're still paying. Lenny Yoro, they're still paying for them. You cannot just add on another £100 million player who is not worth even a half of that figure. It's insane. It would be saying one thing and doing the exact opposite. It's insane. I'm waiting to see. I'm all eyes. Let me know what you think about Dibling. Subscribe.